Ooh. Sorry. Can we share maybe?
Oh, yeah. No. Yours, I'll hold mine.
Are we all set?
Coming.
Are we all set? Yes. Are we comfortable? Do we like who we're sitting with at our respective tables?
Yes.
If not, there's an open table. Now, are you okay? You sure? You don't want to sit with us? Yeah, be careful. You might be part of the panel. That's the problem. All right? But thank you for being here. Welcome. Is everybody at the back okay? Everybody has a seat? Okay. So, ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to welcome you to this wonderful event. We are launching this very special book, My Barbie Story. And I'd actually like for you to please give everybody a round of applause before we start. So, my name's Sam. We'll work on a first name basis, it's okay. Jill of all trades and probably a master of none of them. But, I used to do some television, do radio presenting, I'm a life coach, speak. I'm also a philanthropist. I'm a mum of 2 boys, 10 and 7. And I don't think mum is like, thank you. Well, mum is not really the title because I'm the doctor, I'm the chauffeur, I'm the therapist, I'm the counselor, I'm the best friend, I'm the ATM, you know what I mean? But it's the driver, the nurse. Oh yeah, didn't make the beds up this morning. I have to do that when I get home. But, I'm pretty much here to facilitate this wonderful panel that we have here this afternoon. And what I really want to just say first and foremost is that I'm big on spaces, right? So we create spaces for one another. And in those spaces, we often find time to share, very personal stories, things that mean something to us. And as we share those stories, often feelings are evoked. Am I correct?
Yeah.
And what I found in my personal journey is that as we share and those feelings are evoked, we get vulnerable, we connect with people. Would you agree?
Yes.
So this message is actually for the panel. That could you please today get vulnerable and open up and share and allow us to connect with you over and above the book. Is that okay? Big ask, I know.
It's called the reality.
And then before we start the program officially, I'm going to do some housekeeping. I don't know the blueprint of this building, so I'm going to read what I've been given so that I don't mess it up. But I do know that the bathrooms are up the stairs. That's my left, your right. And then we have smoking, which is behind me. It's only allowed on that balcony. I don't know if we can vape in here. Can you? I don't know. Can we vape in here? You're the closest person to me. Can we vape in here? I shouldn't be asking that. I'm sorry. Okay, so we vape and we smoke cigarettes outside. Then also, if you do have any questions, if you have anything that you'd like to share, anything reflective, please jot that down, write it on your phone, keep it in mind, so that at the end of the panel discussion, we can take some questions. I will not be taking questions, my wonderful guests will be taking questions. All right, so keep that in mind. We'll have a mic that will circulate, so you can raise your hand and we'll send the mic through to you. Lastly, if you would like to post on social media, we do encourage that. This is my good side. I don't know to anybody else. I think any angle is good. Everybody looks lovely. But please feel free to post. Please use the hashtag as well, which is My Barbie Story. And there might be something very special for one lucky person today, depending on what you choose to post and depending on what your content is. But I believe there's something special. Is it a trip for 2? Because if you're single, I'm happy to come with you. Okay. So that's that. So please post and share your stories with us today. And what I'm going to do is I'm first and foremost going to introduce somebody very special today. We've got Tarusha Naidu, the marketing manager for Mattel South Africa, who's going to give us a background on this book. And before I do so, Tarusha, I want to test the energy of the room. It's very important. Then you have a partner at your table now. So I'm going to have you introduce yourselves. You can do that now. We'll wait.
Thank you for embarrassing me.
No, okay. But you can redeem yourself by starting the clap, if you don't mind. So we're going to start the clap with you. We're going to test the energy of the room. We're going to take it to the back, take it to the side, and then we're going to start. Can you do that for us?
Are we doing a slow clap or a fast clap?
You set the tone. You're going to set the tone.
Okay, we'll do it together. Yeah. Okay, 1, 2, 3, go.
the energy of the room.
Okay.
Next time.
Okay, guys, follow.
Yeah, people. Oh, Robert, is the whistles for you, Jenna? The whistles for you, Kim?
I must be the youngest and sexiest here.
Yeah,
Of course,
yeah.
it's for.
Tricia Nadia, please can you come up? And can we give her a round of applause, please?
Hi everyone, thank you so much Sam. I am Tricia Naidu. I'm the marketing manager for Mattel South Africa. My team and I are absolutely thrilled to be here today as we launch the My Barbie Storybook in line with the global release. This initiative has been in the works for months, and our goal was to ensure that at its heart, this book makes a meaningful impact right here at home. The Barbie story is one of empowerment that has inspired generations to imagine their own stories. A journey marked by dreams and limitless possibilities that help shape the future. Since her debut in 1959, Barbie has become an international icon and muse. Today, she continues to spark imaginations and influence conversations around the world. As we celebrate the 65th anniversary of Barbie, we invited a few Barbie friends to share their Barbie stories, as we know the profound impact this doll has had. Within the pages of this book, you'll find a collection of heartfelt memories and personal reflections shared by people from all over the world, from childhood adventures, moments of self-discovery, inspiration, and hope, each story highlighting a unique bond with Barbie. These narratives celebrate Barbie as a fashion icon and symbol of self-expression who continues to inspire. Our 65th anniversary is not just about looking ahead, it's about shaping the future. So, thank you all for joining us today. We hope that you enjoy this afternoon as we uncover more elements that you won't find between the lines of each person's story. So, thank you.
Leave my mic. Oh, thank you. No. Thank you, sir. All right. What's beautiful about today as well, besides why we're here, is that many of you have dressed in pink. I think there's a touch of pink at this table there as well at the back. Pink bag. I saw there were pink soles on the shoes. Pink fan, pink shoes, pink scarf, pink blazer, beautiful. And it is important for us to as well show gratitude
Pink
because
fine.
you're also part of this event and you make it very special. So we've tested the energy of the room. I'm going to introduce our panel this afternoon, and as I introduce them, if you could please give them a round of applause and a warm welcome. All right? So without further ado, we're going to start on my right. Fashion designer, good to see everyone. Next to that, we have jewelry designer, Gina Clifford. We also have media personality and entrepreneur, Kim Jane. And last but not least, change activist and founder of Boss Bank of South Africa, Kaviki Moodley. So before I start the panel discussion, and this is a very casual conversation, nice and relaxed, do the two of you need anything to drink?
Ja, ik het allemaal los zo in een
The
rijtje.
berry juice is excellent. I can recommend.
Shot of vodka, baby. So before I get into the conversation, I got the PDF of this. I still am waiting for my hard copy, someone. But I was actually sitting at the hairdresser reading, you know, a lot of the stories. And naturally, because I'm quite patriotic and I like things that are familiar, I went to all of your stories. And what is so beautiful about what I've read is that I got lost in all of your stories. There is an element of nostalgia. There is an element of going back in time and having a deeper understanding of each individual. But there's also this excitement about the future and the prospects that come with the future. So Kim, I'm going to start with you, and you know, in your story, the first thing I liked about what you had written was that you mentioned your dad. I lost my dad 4 years ago, and I would imagine that as daughters, we have a very special bond with our dad. You mentioned your father traveled, he brought you this Barbie. And I want you to take us through that moment when you received this gift and why this particular gift was so special to you, what it looked like, how you felt, and what it meant to you for the rest of your life.
Thank you, Sam. Good afternoon, everybody. You all look so beautiful. We love your touch of pink. Beautiful. And thank you so much to the Mattel team for having us. It's such an honor to share a stage with icons like this. I'm freaking out. My story is about how, as a young Zimbabwean child, I received dolls growing up. I was a very girly girl. And upon one of my dad's travels when he returned, he bought me a Teresa Barbie. Now, all the Barbie dolls I've ever received were blonde and blue-eyed and tall and thin and gorgeous. But I didn't see myself in that Barbie doll. And when I got my first Teresa Barbie, I saw she had brown skin and dark hair and dark eyes. And for once I saw myself reflected in this doll that I was obsessed with. And I think that's why the story is so important, and it's why it's such an honor for me to share my story, not only with my friends and family, but now with the world through this novel, through this book, is that representation is so important. Because my story is out there. There's a young girl in a small town that honestly never believed anything like this would ever be possible. And because people like us are on this stage sharing our stories, they know it's possible. They know they can dream. They know if they work really, really hard and don't take no for an answer from anybody, it's possible. So,
That's
yeah.
a good one.
Yeah. I think it's also important to note that Kim, you have family who have flown in.
Yes! The Zimbabweans at the
Well, where
house.
are they?
My mom and my pa are here.
Zoom table at the back. Okay, well, welcome. How is the flight? How are the travels? Great. Short. Beautiful. And thank you for being here. And just to follow up on what you were saying, Kim, what does this mean to you today, being featured in this book and being able to tell your story to so many people around the world?
I'm a Cancerian, so I'm very emotional. I cried twice today, and my makeup artist is here, and she's like, don't you dare mess up your glam. I think without getting too personal, it's been a very challenging year. And you sometimes forget the impact of your story. You forget how meaningful God's plan for your journey is. You forget why you put here. And I think moments like this are so incredibly humbling. I'm so filled with gratitude. I don't think there's words that can, really express how grateful I am, what a big deal this is for, not only African women, for Zimbabwean women, for my family, and for every little colored boy and girl out there that has never seen themselves in the mainstream media. I'm so humbled and honored. Thank you.
That's what I said in the beginning. Let's get vulnerable and hold space for one another. Setting the bar, Kim. And I think it's so important for us to remember that we're exactly where we're meant to be in this exact moment. And as much as I said earlier, we spoke about nostalgia, past, etc. Would you agree that it is so important to stay in the present, to be in the here and now? And can you expand on what that does to us when we are present?
I think being in the present is really where it should be, because that is where creativity happens. As a creator of things, I think it's very important to just kind of reflect on where you come from. And that for me always brings across that extreme gratitude. Not just for always chasing the next big thing, but really reflecting on everything that has come to you so organically and everything that you've worked for. And also just your support structure around you. I think all of us have I know Jana's kids are here, your parents are here, my parents are here, my life partners here, and just really surrounding yourself with such a very, very strong, important support structure around you.
Beautiful. Gavin, I'm going to do a deep dive of your particular story, but what I get from also what you're saying is that part of our journey speaks to resilience and perseverance. You spoke about the support from others as well. What have you learned from some of those spiritual principles? What have you learned about the power of resilience, the importance of persevering? You know, if you think about your career, your journey, and what it's taken to get you to this point, how have those things that I've mentioned helped you?
I always say that I am the most unlikely person to become a famous fashion designer. I grew up on the farm. I have dyslexia, and I couldn't read and write. But fashion was always my kind of go-to thing, and I think my first original muse was my sister's Barbie dolls. And that for me is always the beautiful story about the connection I have with Barbie, is that it gave a young boy on the farm, not really fitting in anywhere, kind of a glimpse into what I now know was my future. And that was so beautiful and powerful for me, and that is really where my point of view comes from, and I kind of like resonate.
It's interesting when we talk about what inspires people, and often people mention it's places that inspire them, you know. Somebody once said to me that GOD stands for the great outdoors. And you speak about, you know, fun and being out in nature. And I think part of your story also mentioned materials and parts of nature and tissue paper that you used to use. Can you elaborate?
So the story goes, I hated school because I was not good at it at all. And I used to take my pencils in school and I would dress them up with tissues and sellotape and make little dresses out of them. And on my, I don't know if anybody remember what a space case was. Yeah, that was the runway. So I used to have these fashion shows with my pencils on the runway. And then when I got home, I kind of one by one kind of stole my sister's dolls, and then they became this very dramatic cast of the first muses of Catherine could see, and they were always so dressed up and always going to a ball. I didn't know what they did for a living, but they were always going to a ball. And that was beautiful for me. And then when Barbie asked me 2 years ago, 2020, to do a collaboration with them, I remember my partner Vicky came to me, he's like, who is the one brand that you've always wanted to collab with? And I screamed, Barbie! I was like, yeah, there's an email from Barbie asking if we can collaborate on a Pret-a-Porter collection, and it was so incredible. The 2-year journey that it took, starting and stopping through COVID, was wonderful, and the collection was such a great hit, and it was so beautiful, and I was so nervous that grown-ups that I was designing for would resonate with wearing Barbie clothes, but I mean, it's a collection sold out over and over, so there's obviously an appetite for that nostalgia, which was beautiful.
It's a round of applause for the sold out collection. And for the partners now. Kat, one more question before we move on, and then we will come back to you. How would you define the spirit of Barbie, and how has that spirit transcended into your career?
The spirit of Barbie is you can be whatever you want to be today, and tomorrow you can be somebody else. What I love about Barbie is how inclusive she is. Similar to what Kim was saying, is there's literally a Barbie for every person out there. Everybody can see themselves, their reflection, in this doll and create their own stories and narratives. I think if you guys remember when we were children, if we had the privilege of having a Barbie doll, or we had to use pencils and tissue paper, but it's really about your imagination, creating those stories in your mind, and that is really where dreams start.
Thank you, Kat. Thank you. I'd like to think that there is a Barbie in all of us, somewhere. And if we haven't unearthed that Barbie or connected with that Barbie, just give it time. You know, we're all on different journeys, different paths, and things happen for us at different moments. Jenna, I'm going to come to you. And
the one born in 1959, you smart girl. 1959.
Still beautiful.
Thank you.
Jenna, in the beginning of your story, you describe Barbie, and you speak a lot about the looks. You know, you mentioned the legs, etc. And then you say, unlike me. What did you read like?
You know, I've just smiled with my nice young friend here that I met when he was 21, about then, 21, 22. Never realized through his talent. He was just like me, dyslexic, marginalized at school. There were no dreams for us. Do you understand? Because we were seen as stupid or naughty. I was seen as stupid. You were probably seen as naughty. So your passion and your pain are ignitions. They really are. What you desire the most seems most unobtainable. But through delayed gratification and dreams, you can supersede everything. Barbie was unobtainable to me because the order of the day, women were not emancipated, they were owned. So Barbie, born in 1959, gave women permission to dream, but only certain women. And I didn't identify. I wanted to be blonde, blue-eyed, tall, divine legs, big tits, and a little waist, just like she. But in your dreams, even though I wasn't that, I birthed daughters that look like that. So be careful what you wish for.
And what is at the back there, isn't it?
But the truth is, if you've got eyes, and they're not blue, you've got eyes, you've got beautiful eyes. If you've got hair, you have got beautiful hair. If you've got curly hair, don't make it straight. Like the straight-haired girls want to make it curly.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So Barbie for poor children, let alone infirm, was unobtainable, but it was a dream. I'm pleased to announce I was the recipient of the 65th Barbie, and I love her because she's dressed in my colors. I'm an ebony ivory girl. I never fitted into my white community. So I'm a black girl that's born white. So she's in my colors. How's that? Viva! The pink about me is my lips. And ladies, and the awkward gentlemen around here today, I painted my nails pink for you for the first time in donkey's year. How's that?
Effort. Beautiful. Do you know, there's something that you mentioned in what you were saying, and the first word that came to mind is acceptance. And you know, often there are things about ourselves we don't accept, things about life we don't accept, issues in our path that we can't comprehend. And what I've learned is that often what begins in pain ends in joy and serenity. So if you can take that sentence and apply it to your life, can you perhaps mention a difficult time in your life? Maybe it might be mentioned in your story, and where you triumphed and found that joy and serenity.
Well, that's what I love about the modern Barbie today, because it's so representative. Everybody, even the most beautiful or the most, what other people see as ugly, what dwells within you should be extreme beauty. What happens on the outside of you should reflect who you are. And beauty is defined under so many different curriculums. As Carter said, you can be one thing today and another thing tomorrow. So it's giving everybody permission. Life is about a struggle in a way, because even when you are born, your mother struggles in utero. The struggle of life, there's a great beauty to it. But this is giving all of us permission to not only dream, to attain. And by delayed gratification with any of us, remember, children that are reared in the right side of the tracks with excessive money that they didn't earn, they're the most marginalized. And they sometimes don't realize that. There's a sun and a moon in life. So Barbie represents the moon. It keeps us on centrifugal force. Without that, there wouldn't be an existence. So it's It's really the placebo effect of you going to get what you want, you have to work at it, you might as well passionately enjoy it, and you might as well stay right in the middle of the midline, not filtering too far off, because your health is your wealth. Your beauty will be eternal. It will define age. That's the bottom line. And in my 66th year, and in the birth of Barbie, she's looking great, and I'm very proud of it. And all you women at Mattel that have driven this project. And you're good at testate, my boy. I love me a Barbie shirt. Just at my age, I need sleeves because I don't do talk in gym, but I got great legs for an old lady.
Round of applause for Jen, everybody. Mr. Please come over to you, please. Beginning of the story, we must start with the beginning. You mentioned every birthday, you asked for things, you got it. Every birthday. You think about the gifts you received, the Barbies you received for your birthday, the celebration of a birthday, the milestone, the trip around the sun. How much more does that mean to you today because of your upbringing and the gifts you received back then?
I think life is a journey, and Barbie has been with me every year. When I would get asked, what do you want, it would be a Barbie, a different type of Barbie. So I have this whole collection of Barbies collected from all my birthdays. And I think very similar to, Kim's journey as well. Barbies only looked a certain way back then. I think now there's a lot of diversity, inclusion, equity, belonging. But back then, Barbies were blonde hair, blue eyes. And I think as a young child, I grew up looking at that as the definition of beauty. And the fact that I didn't look like that meant that I wasn't beautiful. And I think also, growing up in a small town, I grew up in Shellcross, which is a site of Durban. Dark-skinned girls were not seen as being beautiful. You were seen as academic or something else. So I think through my journey, I'm 39 this year, so I've walked a long journey, and I think, Barbie has evolved through the years, and that is what I love. I love the fact that now, Barbie is integrated with being a professional, for example. So you get, a Barbie that's a doctor and a whole host of other professions, and that certainly resonates with me. I'm a CA as my profession, and I think now that we're talking about multifaceted women, and something that I advocate for a lot on my platform, Boss Babes of South Africa, it's about bringing through the different dimensions through to our personality and understanding that everything that we do in life brings us a different level of joy. And we need to embrace that. We need to embrace the fact that we are multifaceted. You are not your title, you are not your 9 to 5, you are not your status. You are a human being here to have an incredible experience. And I think the fact that Barbie has evolved so much, to the fact that now it's so relatable to so many women, is just a phenomenal story.
Thank you, Madame. There's all these words that I see in my head. We speak about equality and diversity, and one other word that came to mind is also unity. I often sit with my children and I ask them, what brings you and your friends together? Right? They're still young, 10 and 7. It can't be alcohol that brings them together. I should hope not. But I ask them, what brings you and your friends together? What strengthens your bonds? And I think about this country. I'm very patriotic. And I think about, the obvious things, the rugby, and, the party, and Shaq Bang. There's a lot of things. Our history as well, our diversity, diversity of culture, language, etc. And I think it's important for us to reflect on what brings us together from this book. What unites us? How do we connect with one another through the stories in this book?
I think everyone that's seated here today has a proudly South African thread, and that's what makes us very unique. I'm also very patriotic, love everything proudly South African. And I think for me it really is about understanding that our strengths are different, and that's okay. We have strengths in different places, and it's important to appreciate that and live by that. I think many of us go through life not understanding who we are as human beings, what our unique strengths are, and I think sometimes that can stifle us through our journey of life. So I think it's very important, and I think everyone has shared their journey here, focusing on their strengths, focusing on their journeys, very different backgrounds. But the common thread being South African, being able to overcome challenges, being able to turn pain into power, which is so important in today's world. I think everyone is going to go through some kind of challenge. I've been through something pretty traumatic this year as well. And I think it's about how we rise from that. And I think in everyone's story, there is a story of rising beyond what has pushed you down and learning the lesson from it, right? Because if you don't learn the lesson from it, I think we've heard this, it comes back in a different set of clothes and a different person. So it is important that when the lesson comes to you,
Barbie violin, clever girl.
learn the lesson, take the lesson from there. I don't believe that anything that happens to us in life is random. Every single thing that happens to us, as horrible as it may be, is meant to push us towards our highest purpose.
Fabulous. I love that. I
Give her a
really do.
clap.
Just when you move the mic down, Kat, I would like to come back to you. You know, I work with different types of people, many of them, and I'm very open about my story, many of them, you know, alcoholics, many of them are addicts as well, you know, on this journey of recovery, etc. And a lot of the time they talk about never having a sense of belonging, never finding themselves in a place where they were heard or seen or acknowledged or loved. Well, at least they didn't feel loved. Maybe they were. Do you think that, you know, by sharing your story and reading the stories of others, that it gives people an opportunity for themselves to be seen, heard, and acknowledged? And then through your story, how do you think that, or that particular story, your story, can empower others to find the courage to put themselves in spaces where they are heard, seen, and acknowledged and held, as well as supported where you have been? It's a long-winded question.
Sure, yeah.
You need to go back, give context, and so on. And, you know.
Long-winded question, but let me try to answer it. So what I think it is, it brings me back to what I said earlier, is about your support structure. I have the strongest support structure from my parents and my life partner. And I'm very lucky that I do have that in my life. But for those that doesn't, I think it is very important to cultivate those relationships. Find your family wherever you can. Not only just for them to support you, but for you also to support them. I think that is very important for me, if that answers your question.
Yes, it does. Does it answer anybody else's question? I'm just curious. But also, I see where you're going with this. We want to know. Jenna, how important is it that we find balance in life? We look at the story of Barbie and what she had, we look at your journey, what you have, and how do you find that balance? You also mentioned your beautiful children as well. What does that mean to you?
I think looking at Barbie and my children, you see the outer scape of the beauty, the prestige, the beautiful, everything. To arrive there takes a lot of hard work, a lot of commitment, a lot of teamwork, because together everyone achieves more. So that's what it means to me. But life has seasons, and you, just like today's Friday, a lot of us say, yeah, it's Friday, because that indicates a bit of play. But most people, when you're younger and you're not getting up at 4:30 in the morning to go and get your balance in, because you can't only work in your head, your body's got to move as well. So there is no such thing as balance, by the way. Success means sacrifice, but you fit in the other things. The thing is, if you want something badly enough, it's your overriding passion. Remember, you can be in the Hall of Fame today and out tomorrow. You can, anything can be. Consistency is your key. But you have to relax sometime. That's just the thing. You have to be frivolous sometime. So a lot of people self-medicate. You know, check me. I went and got a little bubble because it's Friday. So the thing is, I think if you do things in moderation, but work and your career, if you want something, there is no moderation. You will eat it, live it, sleep it, breathe it. Just like having children and a marriage. That's what it takes. So the Barbie life has had a lot of work behind it because Barbie's got a lot of hard workers behind it. So that's my true answer. Success is wrapped up in what you do predominantly. Maxwell's 10,000 hours attest to that. And I can see a lot of young people over here and they're tuned in. It's worth it. Do it. You're going to get what you want. And grannies want everyone to get what they want because you deserve it. So just work hard at it. Let your passion be your power. Do you understand? You must all have a lovely weekend because just now I have to run away to work, believe it or not. And I thought they gave me the whole day off, but they didn't. But it's my pleasure.
Yeah, I love that. And Kim, you've got the mic, so we find things that we're passionate about, we have a sense of determination, but can't be determined without putting in the action. And what Jenna's mentioned is that beautiful concept of commitment, but also maintenance, how we maintain, this level of commitment. Because, if you don't maintain that, you can, what they say, relapse or just go back into, oh, well, whatever, why am I doing this kind of stuff, right? We've spoken a lot about, diversity, and Kim, I'd like for you to mention how this diversity and how Barbie empowers young women or children. That it's not just something to play with, but something to aspire to be.
Sure. I mean, to speak to what Courtney said, the Barbie of today is so diverse and so representative of every different skin color, hair type, body shape, ability or physical disability. I guess when we were looking at Barbie when we were growing up and she was tall, blonde, with blue eyes, now we can buy any type of Barbie, and that shows us how empowering the generation we live in is, right? I mean, 2 decades ago, what I do didn't exist. Social media didn't exist at this level. You couldn't connect with people around the globe. You couldn't be a self-made entrepreneur the way you can now. All you need nowadays is a cell phone and a tripod, and you can make money from the comfort of your own home.
With a lot of drive, because you're
Yes, oh no, of course, definitely, you need to put in the work, for sure. But the opportunity didn't exist before, and it does now. I think it's an exciting time to be a young creative, but also people are not limited to their age. We know on social media how many more mature men and women are creating content and being inspiring and being funny and teaching us how to cook. And for people that maybe don't have the appearance, they're sharing that knowledge and the wisdom and tips on just how to adult and get through life, because we all need that, So yeah, I guess the Barbie brand has evolved, and I think where people may criticize is a lack of knowledge, because it's so different now. It's so inclusive now. It's so diverse now. And the brand is such a powerful, empowering narrative that it's just such an honor to be associated with it, as I'm sure you all agree.
Also, how funny is it that all of us were serious underdogs in school, and right now we're going to be a global Barbie book? That is stunning. Yes, for the nerds, living in life.
Thank you, Kim. Kat, let's come back to you, and we're going to start winding down, and then I'm going to open up the floor to anybody who would like to share, comment, ask questions to the panel, and mention anything that they'd like to reflect further on. Kat, in your story, who exactly are you talking to? And who would you like to connect with?
I think I try and always talk to everybody that has ever felt excluded. That is in general who I talk to. I think everybody knows that feeling, and being told in school that you are uneducationable is a hard knock for a young child, especially a gay young child. And then kind of like finding a way through life is what's really interesting, and it's so wonderful that you kind of then find your tribe and you find yourself, and you kind of then get to be on an opportunity with very inspiring people on a stage, and help and be in a book, one of 60 or 4 of 60 in the world, to share our South African stories and inspire the world. I think it's important to tell people your story because people have so many questions, and you kind of sometimes think something is wrong with me because why is it working for you and not for me? And I think by just sharing the challenges that we've gone through and our point of view of things, can just plant a little seed in someone's mind and just help them through that first step of inspiration, of passion, to take it to the next level. And that's what I try and do through my bursary programs and through all the charity that I do, or the fashion people that I try and help, is just to not make you me or make you the next Versace or Dior, but just plant that little seed so that you can have a starting point to grow your career from.
Love that. And I want to actually elaborate on that. So perhaps Ms. Moody, you can help us with this. You know, one powerful lesson that I learned in life is that my issue is that I condemned the world for not understanding me. Nobody understands me. Why does nobody get me? You know, this is who I am. But not once did I take the time to understand others. Not once did I take the time to listen to somebody else's story. And I think for me, I'm so deeply grateful because your story has given me a deeper understanding of who you are. It gives me insight of who you have become. It connects me with, in fact, your resilience and your honesty and your vulnerability and your humility is what I connect with, you know. And, you know, perhaps you can elaborate on that, you know, what I've shared, and also holding space for others, learning to connect by understanding what happened to you, not why are you like this, why do you behave in such a way, but where do you come from, that you are the way that you are, and how can we walk together, not apart?
It's a powerful question. And I think it really resonates with the word that we've been talking about, like diversity. And diversity is not trying to change someone to be like you. It is accepting them and meeting them where they are. It is about recognizing that we come from different backgrounds, we have different skills, different strengths. And it is about taking the time, especially in teams, when you start to work in teams. I've spent 17 and a half years in corporates, working with many corporates. And I think you learn the lesson about understanding where people come from, understanding about their background, and finding a way to integrate them into a team objective, to meet a mandate, to meet an outcome or an objective. And I think the only way you can do that is by relating to them, you know, understanding their journey and understanding that when they're not themselves, you know, it's about digging a bit deeper. What is going on in your life? What is impacting you? And more importantly, how can I as a leader support you? How can I walk this journey with you as opposed to just saying, you know, write off or poor performer, which sometimes happens.
KPIs.
Yeah, KPIs. Sorry, you're not meeting it, like, you know. So I think it's very important to just, you know, take time in whatever industry you are to understand the people around you and to understand that we're all not good at the same thing, because that would be pretty boring if we all were good at the same thing. And it is about understanding people's strengths and allowing them to play to those strengths.
Round of applause, everybody. Thank you all for sharing pieces of yourselves with us today and in this book. I'd like to give the floor an opportunity to ask questions. Perhaps if you'd like to ask a question or share a thought or an expression of gratitude, etc., raise your hand. We'll get the mic to come to you, and also let us know who you are. It's nice to get to know everybody and who you'd like to direct your question or comment to.
And don't be shy.
This is a safe space. And also don't let your friends pressure you into asking questions. Can we get a microphone, please? Or we can, do we have a third microphone, sir? Okay, we'll have to use, Kim.
It's my car, guys, it's my car.
Oh, but you can do the running thing, Kim. This is what you do. Yeah.
Hi guys, good afternoon. Thank you for sharing. I got a question that I'd like each of you to answer as succinctly as possible. Each one of you indicated there's a time in life where you realized you didn't fit in and you had to find yourself. How did you transcend the fear of moving from trying to fit in to finding yourself? Because that fear, when you get past it, that's when you make it.
Yes. This is not for marks, hey.
I don't think that fear of not fitting in ever goes away. Like, I have a problem remembering bad things that happened in my past. I think I'm like blocking it out or something. But I just remembered recently I showcased at London Fashion Week for the first time. And now I have a very big fear of not fitting in. And I think for me that is the freshest one in my memories. It's like I just don't, as you're asking that question, I'm thinking it never goes away. It's like a constant battle. And I think everybody thinks like that.
F-E-A-R, false evidence appearing real. So you run it down the page. F for fear, E for evidence, appearing and real. Everybody, if you don't get nervous, even if you've trained for a race, did the work for a business, you won't be in your prime. Do you understand? You won't be primed. So a little bit of nerves, I think, is a good thing, because there's an old saying in the boys' club, don't be too cocksure. Okay. So I think you have to embrace it, but fear can inhibit you to not even take a step forward. So the thing is, don't ever dive in the lake or the sea. Go into a little pond and put your toes in first. In other words, sensitize yourself to your fear. Don't just jump in. Inch by inch, life's a cinch. Yard by yard, life's hard, even though we're in a metric system. So that's why age does help a little bit. Don't let fear inert you. Experiment slowly. If you don't want to embarrass yourself, because sometimes your friends are not your friends. Do you understand? Practice a little bit, get proficient at it, and you're going to be top of the pops. Do you understand? Break through the fear. It's worth it.
I'll try to keep mine short and sweet. I've recently recommitted my life to God, and I want to do it. And there's this thing that I kept reading, it kept coming up in different versions or different words or phrases, but it was like, Lord, I don't know. Lord, I don't know. Lord, I don't know. But you do know. You know everything that's coming. You intended for every challenge to come. You intended for every moment of imposter syndrome, which we often feel when we're in these incredible places. And we're like, I can't believe it's me. Are they sure? Are you sure? You for me are for real? We're supposed to be here. God put us here for a reason. And He gave us, the nerds and the underdogs, this stage and this platform and this opportunity for a reason. So for me, it's faith over fear.
I think as human beings, we are constantly evolving. And, you know, the things that we once aligned with from a values and a moral perspective may change. In a few years' time, or a few months' time, you may no longer align with the space that you have been placed within. And that's okay. It is okay to recognize that, and it is okay to move forward from that and realize that maybe there's something else that is better from a soul alignment point of view. And that's okay to follow that.
Behind you, yes.
Hi. Firstly, thank you guys for being so iconic and being a part of the Barbie story. Jenna, I love you. Thank you for paving the way for all of us. Kim and Gert, I was blessed to be there in the beginning of your careers and been a part of your journey and your story at the later part of your life. Kim, there's a sexy lady who walked in and I'm like, damn, who's that? Kind of explains where you got it from. Your mama. Kim, first and foremost, thank you for changing. As a fellow Barbie insider and a Cancerian, I'm also emotional, I keep growing, cry. But thank you for changing the narrative of how we dress up. And Carl, I got sneakers on. You're inspiring an old Barbie like me. But thank you for changing it and making us be able to wear sneakers with an evening dress. Girls, our feet are burning. Considering you and Gert had a long week and you've been out all night, when do you actually sleep, the two of you? But my question for you guys, and maybe for all of you, which Barbie do you identify with or identify as? And then Gert, geez, I've known you, I think, a month since you moved to Josie from the farm. Thank you for being so iconic. Congratulations last night. And same question for all of you guys. Thank you so much for being iconic and making us know your story, sharing it with us, and we love you all. Cool. Got you, girl.
And what was the question? Oh, my Barbie. Oh, goodness. You know what? I kind of always like against everybody. I always wanted to be the blonde one of the big tits, like Jenna said. I was kind of fine because I didn't want to be the king. I wanted to be the blonde one. That's what my dream was. But thank you, Mel, for your question. You're so super iconic as well. I mean, Mel is incredible. She's the staple in this industry.
I think I said earlier, there she is, ebony and ivory. And as I said, I do just, you always want your opposite. Luckily, I've gone nice and grey. This is a little spray on. My hair's being cut tomorrow. And I will be grey blonde soon. So I take the 65th, 1959 for my Barbie. Thank you very much, Mattel, for honouring me and honouring us and giving me a beauty and a book. So I'm very delighted from my soul. And it just goes, and I'm a repeat again. If you have something in your mind, it's a seed. And as Kat said, plant a seed. Seeds grow. So if we can all know that if we all nurture each other, you'll be surprised what happens. Together, we will achieve more. And South Africa's got a great reputation of diversity. For a small country, we seem to knock the lights out in a lot of things. Can we carry on doing it? Yes. Great.
Today is such a vibe, oh my word.
Dancing.
Yes, definitely. For me, the most iconic Barbie is definitely Lyra. Lyra's Barbie made history. A proudly African Barbie that didn't have long straight hair, she had short curly hair, and she looked just like Lyra, and I'm obsessed with her, and I think she's such an African icon, so that's definitely the one that stands out the most for me.
So I'm lucky because recently there has Barbie has been launched. And it is in line with Diwali that's coming up. So it's an Indian Barbie, absolutely beautiful. I know that many of my friends have rushed out to try and buy them. It's been sold out in many of the stores. So definitely resonating with that, bringing a bit of my Indian culture through to the look and feel of the doll. Really, really beautiful and well done for, you know, making it so relatable. Yeah, beautiful.
Hope you guys can see me there. Hi. The Barbie brand is an iconic one with legacy. I mean, we're all sitting in this room just talking about a little cute little doll. But in vain with what you guys have written in the book, what legacy would you like to leave in the same way that Barbie has? And that's what Sean has.
What legacy? Some real deep soul questions here today. Yeah, beautiful. I think for me as a woman empowerment activist, I have really been quite vocal around changing narratives and breaking barriers, especially for women of colour in South Africa. I think I can only speak from my lived experiences as a woman of colour in corporate South Africa. And I think there's a lot of stereotypes, unfortunately, that still prevail. Stereotypes around when you speak up about something, you're often, classed as being aggressive or angry or too much. The angry black woman trope, I think we all know about, we've heard and we're tired about actually. And I think for me it is really about breaking those barriers and creating an equal space where everyone's voice matters. We all can be heard, we all can be seen, and most importantly, we all can be respected.
I speak on this quite often, so if you've heard me say this before, just nod and act like it's the first time. Yeah? When we were growing up, it was not cool to be African. We always looked to the West to set the trends for fashion, for music, for what we watch on TV, for what is cool. I think for me, and I think what everybody on this stage represents, is that we actually don't need to look to the West for inspiration, for motivation, for proof that we can absolutely change the world, and you can absolutely do it being your most authentic self. So for me, it is to be proudly African, Zimbabwean, living in South Africa, loving it, and also there's so much. You can be so proud of your country, but also for us on this continent to stop the division between the countries. It's just a border, babe. Zim is like 2 hours away. We're not far. So it's more about the unifying of our continent and of our countries and being so proudly African because we're so fire. I mean, a CA that's a boss babe. Are you kidding? An iconic jewelry maker. Hello. I'm saying, can't dress Oprah. Being African is amazing, and so I think that's the legacy I would like to hopefully leave behind.
It's so good about all of you. You all sing the same tune. So remember, according to 70, I've got 4 years left before I hit the pearly gates, okay? But you never know, even though I've smoked for 47 years, I might still be here and outlast a lot of youngsters. But what I want for all, that means all the children, all the animals, all the diversity. I live in Africa, I love Africa, Africa rocks. We can do everything, but we're going to do it together. So that's the bottom line. We have everything, we must just form the united front. And by the way, we outstrip the rest of the world because Africa, if you look at sport, dancing and song all around the world, these are exported Africans taken out of their own world long ago and now paginated all over. We are the blood, and with the blood, let's not have the pain, let's have the joy, let's have the success, let's fix the schools, fix the country, fix the water problems, and let's have a good time. We're in a beautiful place, and salute Barbie.
I think what I want to be, the legacy that I would like to leave behind them, and this is kind of a reminder for all of us, is that making somebody else's dream come true might be a big hurdle for them, but for many of us in this room, it could be a phone call. And I'm very cognizant of the power that I have and the audience that God has given me. And for me, I like using that to really just make somebody's dream come true. I'm not talking about stopping wars, but literally in my everyday life, if I know this person wants to be a model, for instance, it's like I can call an agency and be like, let this person look at them. And I just did that for somebody last week. And that is the little easy things that we can do. And I think we must just all just look and reflect within ourselves and just look at the power that God has given each and every one of us individually and what small little change we can do. And it brings me back to that little seed that I was telling about, planting that little seed in somebody's mind. It's just really just opening that little window for somebody, because it's not because we're trying to be Nelson Mandela, but just because we can, and it's easy for us and it won't take effort, it's just going to take a second. So like that is for me what my kind of philosophy is, and also coming back to that, putting African fashion on the global map, celebrating African and South African excellence globally, showing off to the world what we can do.
Round of applause, everybody. Thank you to the panel once more. I salute you for all your successes. And you know, somebody told me the other day that we need to watch really closely and be very vigilant in life. We need to listen. We need to look out for those internal cues, find those quiet moments as well. Then they said to me that it's fine to make mistakes in life, right? It's important to learn from those mistakes. And smart people learn from their mistakes. But the very smart people learn from the mistakes of others.
Yes!
Right? I think so. Yeah? See somebody else in there, not doing that. You know? And that's the thing about, you know, being in spaces with different types of people. You know, let's be open-minded to learn from them. You know? And it also requires us to remain teachable. Hello? The longer I stay clean, the longer I walk this journey in recovery, the longer I stay on this earth, the more I realize, I don't know anything. You know? So I've got to be here, and I've got to listen, and I've got to be here with an open heart and an open mind. And Jenna, thank you for that acronym that you shared, the false evidence appearing real. I'm going to swear one more time, because what I lived by was, fuck everything and run. That's what I lived by. I said, to hell with everything.
I stopped saying that word.
I now say fascinating.
Fascinating.
Fascinating. Ladies, you've got to get rid of your frustrations occasionally, because systems are still very patriarchal.
Yeah.
So you have to smile and wave, and you can't say F, X, X, K. Fascinating.
Love that.
Fascinating. Learn that, you'll feel a lot better, because in your head you know what you're saying.
Yeah.
And you don't come away with love. How's that? And you're not nasty.
I'm not nasty. I don't want to be nasty. Jen, I've learned so much from you. Thank you as well. Kim, Miss Moodley, it's been wonderful. All of you on this stage. I am deeply inspired. And I didn't know what I was getting myself into today. I thought I was, you know what I mean? But I've had far more fun, and I've learned far more than I thought I would today. And may what we've learned here today, what we've spoken about, what we've shared with one another, take us into the weekend. We carry the spirit into the weekend, and we share it with others. You know, we leave this space and we carry what we've learned here out there into the world, and we pass on the messages that we've heard today. It has been an absolute honor facilitating this panel. If you would like to ask more questions and speak to the panel, I know, Jenna, you said you got a rush. No?
We're tired now.
We're retired.
And can I just thank you for all your beautiful, very difficult questions. I mean, guys, I thought I was Kamala Harrison or somebody here, because you're asking such difficult questions. What is that about? But thank you so much, and thank you to Mattel from my side.
Thank you,
It's just
Mattel.
wonderful
Thank you
to
very
be
much
here.
for celebrating us as well. All right? And there is a beautiful book where you can share your Barbie stories. There's a wonderful booth, I believe, at the back, and hopefully more champagne and kind of place. Have a wonderful Friday further, everybody, and thank you, Mattel.